We will take an advisory vote on the yellow piece of paper. You should check the box of yes or no. We will collect them and then count them and total that number. Yes is to issue the permit, no is to deny the permit. Again, this is advisory only.
I'm going to the other building. You can throw them in.
All right.
Those people that are seated in the town hall area, Ms. Loth is coming in to collect your ballots. You are not being left out of this. You should be filling this out. Yes, you want the permit issued. No, you do not want the permit issued on the yellow sheet of paper. Thank you.
This is the biggest bullshit we only do since you're there.
Well, you're right, but Eric should have came here and he should have spoken.
I know.
But I don't know, no other way around it, you know what I mean? This is
This is a real without explaining to the public what's already happened.
this is literally this is what Anchorage, this is leftovers from Narcosi. We're pushing the last of Narcosi with the door.
Well, they wanted it because they needed it.
Oh yeah, exactly.
What a farce.
Yep. You can always bring it back.
At this time, Deputy Clerk Lowe and Clerk Treasurer Buchanan are tallying the vote, so your patience is requested once again. You are an awesome audience with patience. gentlemen, for those that are interested in speaking on item number 8, if you would like to start lining up at the right-hand side, you will have 3 minutes, one time. Again, when you come to the mic, I'm going to ask you to state your name and your address for the record. Also, if someone has already said what you were going to say, please let us know that and state your name and address and say what I wanted to say has already been said. I appreciate you helping us expedite this. We're not here all night. Thank you. On the motion, whether to allow seaplanes to land on any town of East Troy Lakes, there were 32 yes, 94 no. The motion fails. Again, it is an advisory vote. Item number 8, discussion and advisory motion regarding the need to have or to develop an ordinance regarding wakeboat surfing on town lakes. Would the first gentleman like to step forward, please?
Brian Bonds, number 8680 Road. I am on the Protect Lake Beulah board. I handle the fish and wildlife. I've been fishing Lake Beulah for over 40 years, 20 years running the weekly bass tournament. When fishermen look out at the lake, we not only see the surface of the water, but we also envision the bottom of the lake. We see the bottom structure, we even visualize the type of weeds that we would be targeting. Fishermen know the structure of the lake, and we have been observing a significant destruction of Lake Beulah's reed beds and fish habitat for the last number of years. I have witnessed wake boats and surf mode operating over these mid-lake humps and extended points, and have seen the mud plumes left in their trails, sometimes seeing whole weeds floating on the surface with roots attached, and it isn't good. This is a photo from a video I took out of a friend's ice fishing canyon in January. This was taken in 22 feet of water and shows the bottom around, covered by deep weeds, but there is a blowout at the bottom, and visible as a crater. It looks like barren moonscape. Keep in mind, we're looking at 22 feet of water. And it begs the question, until we know more, is it really safe and harmless to wake surf in 20 feet of water? Next photo. This is a drone photo of a mid-lake hump in West Bay and Lake Beulah. It's used to be covered by healthy cabbage roots and was a top fishing spot for bass and crappies. I no longer fish this area. The weeds and fish habitat are wiped out, and there are many areas like that around the lake. As a result of this loss of fish habitat, we observed significant declines in the numbers of bass crappies and crappies over the years. Do our observations of fewer bass and crappie caught represent a canary in a coal mine? We think so. Wake boats need large areas of open deep water in order to operate safely. Neighbor lakes like Pewaukee, Naguawaukee, and Big Green have that type of depth and space. All have recently adopted minimum standards of using the 30-foot depth and 700 feet from shore zone as parameters for safe wake surfing. That's a map of Lake Beulah with those parameters. Lake Beulah does not have the type of open deep water space and is not suitable for wake enhanced surfing. One of the ballot questions suggests implementing the industry recommended parameters of 20 feet deep and 200 feet from shore. If there would be such a compromise, this would not afford the users of Lake Beulah and the lake itself the same protections afforded to our neighboring lakes. This would put Lake Beulah and its users at increased risk of damage and injury. The only way to protect Lake Beulah is support a ban on lake enhancement, not the boats themselves. 42 municipalities around the state have already banned lake enhancement, including nearby towns of Palmyra and Ottawa, who passed their wake enhancement bans last night. Only the East Tri-Town Board can pass an ordinance to ban lake enhancement and protect our lakes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Richard Faust, property at W 1928 Pastime Lane. Last night, the Wisconsin Conservation Congress held their spring hearings throughout the state. Each county holds a hearing and they have public questions that the public can answer. Question number 54 was allow the DNR wardens to enforce local ordinances on all Wisconsin lakes. This requires legislation. This is the reason they want to do this. The only enforcement of local ordinances on lakes comes from local law enforcement agencies. Ballast-type boats are increasing in popularity, but town boards have been reluctant to create ordinance to deal with the situation. The DNR suggests, well, there are negative impacts from these magnified wakes. Until further studies, town boards should enact ordinances to deal with this situation on lakes in their jurisdictions. It may be some years before statewide action is taken. This is in your hands right now. In the meantime, these boats may have negative impact on our lakes. The town boards can address the issues: shoreline erosion, scouring of the lake bottom, resuspension of nutrients, which creates algae blooms, destruction of fish habitat, which we've seen, and the ecosystem. There are town boards that have taken action to address the growing concerns. However, some town boards say they will wait until the DNR can enforce the new laws. So I know there was a comment made by the new chairman at one point that he was worried about local enforcement having to enforce this, and it would be put on the town police. Well, the state, the DNR is coming out asking the public if this would be fine, if they could have the wardens enforce local ordinances. Presently on Lake Beulah, if there's a warden out there at 9 a.m. in the morning, I can go screaming across the lake on a Saturday and he can't enforce that. He can't enforce the 200-foot rule because it's a 100-foot state law. They want this changed so they can help the local police departments enforce the town ordinances. So the DNR is asking the town boards to take action now. Don't wait till the lakes are damaged. And the DNR realizes it's going to be a long time before the state rules on this. The second note is, I'd like to know, there's been a lot of talk of unbiased studies. Where is the wake surfers in their studies? The PLB and the management district have been doing studies, and they got another one coming. You wake surfers have brought nothing to us.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amy Evans, 2035 Beulah Heights Road. My Lake Beulah and cherished it for 5 generations. We've witnessed a lot of troubling changes that coincide with the rise of lake enhancement technology. Imagine a future where Lake Beulah is no longer the clean, clear lake we have enjoyed for centuries, a place for fishing, sailing, swimming, and boating. Scientific evidence has shown recent declines in aquatic vegetation, fish spawning habitats, increased shoreline erosion, and increased suspension of bottom sediments. All of these negative effects are directly linked to wake enhancement technology. Research consistently demonstrates that wake-enhanced boating inflicts persistent damage on our lake, even when guidelines are observed. The turbulence generated by these boats adversely impacts aquatic ecosystems. Simply maintaining a 200-foot buffer or creating designated boating zones fails to mitigate the damage, particularly in Lake Beulah with its varied depths and sensitive shorelines. Our crooked lake is not uniformly flat. Its ever-changing bottom and depth are being ravaged by wake-enhancing boats. The disturbance of the marl, a centuries-old sediment crucial for maintaining water quality, poses a serious threat. As the marl is disturbed, the water quality may undergo a sudden and irreversible flip. This gradual loss of marl has been likened to a death by 1,000 cuts. If the environmental consequences don't alarm us, consider the inevitable drop in property values that will follow if Lake Beulah turns into a mud void. Moreover, wake boats utilize ballast tanks to create those massive waves, bringing them another looming threat, the quagga mussel. This invasive species can survive and be transported in wake boat ballast tanks for 3 to 5 days. While they have not yet reached our lake, the risk of introducing these invaders through wake boats poses a grave danger to Lake Beulah's fragile ecosystem. We stand at a tipping point and we must ban wake enhancement technology now. The scientific and environmental concerns are too significant to ignore. We cannot afford irreversible damage to Lake Beulah. What legacy do we wish to leave for future generations? Do we want to pass on a pristine Lake Beulah for future enjoyment? Or do we want to alter this gem forever? As Aldo Leopold wisely stated, one of the penalties of an ecological education is that one lives alone in a world of wounds. We do not want to be ecologists witnessing a community blissfully unaware of wounds inflicted upon our environment. I implore you, this is our moment. The urgency to protect Lake Beulah cannot be overstated. For the love of the lake, I strongly encourage you to fulfill your duty to protect Lake Beulah and stop the wave.
Good evening, everyone. Brian Ballou, N8690 Wilmers Grove Road. I'm the Vice President of Protect Lake Beulah. I'll be speaking the words of Bob Nauta tonight. Bob couldn't be with us. They have not been entered in the record. He's a water quality specialist, well-known scientist, and he has more than 3 decades of experience working on protecting Lake Beulah from the scientific perspective. A significant amount of documentation has been gathered to show that the downward energy caused by wake boats will scour the lake beds and water as much as 20 foot deep. With respect to Lake Beulah, this would include virtually all spawning beds and waters for young fish to find cover from predators. However, this also causes another problem for Lake Beulah. Both Protect Lake Beulah and the Management District have accumulated a vast amount of water quality data from the lake through the ongoing water sampling programs. Over the years, these data have shown that the water quality is very good. However, we also know that the water quality is very fragile. The biggest threat to area lakes is eutrophication, caused by the influx of nutrients. Lake Beulah is unique in that the relatively low pH of the groundwater that enters the lake causes nutrients to precipitate out of the water column. These nutrients are contained within the shallow lake bed sediments and have accumulated over hundreds of years. As video documentation has shown, a single pass of a wake boat over shallow water stirs up a vast cloud of lake bed sediments. What you don't see from these videos is the nutrients that are drawn back out of the lake bed along with the sediments. While the small amount of groundwater that enters the lake has been able to keep the nutrient concentration at healthy levels, the re-emanation of nutrients can overwhelm the ability So we may already be seeing the impacts of this. Recently, we have documented an outbreak of cyanobacteria on Lake Beulah. Cyanobacteria is also known as blue-green algae, and is toxic to fish, wildlife, as well as to people. While our studies of the cause or causes of these outbreaks are ongoing, it is clear that the disturbance of sediments caused by wake boats is a likely contributor. Consequently, Bob believes, as does Protect Lake Beulah and the Management District, that good stewardship of the sensitive environment of Lake Beulah would include actions taken to halt activities that cause such massive disturbance of the lake bed sediments. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Patrick Schmidt, and I live on N9258 Windy Way. I've had the privilege of growing up on the shores of Lake Beulah my entire life. I've enjoyed this lake not just for wake surfing, but for swimming, fishing, skiing, and spending quality time with friends and family. This lake has given me a lifetime of memories, and I care deeply about protecting it. I'm here tonight to respectfully oppose the proposed ban on wake surfing. First, wake surfing is a safe, low-impact activity when done responsibly. Unlike high-speed tow sports, wake surfing is done at lower speeds, around 10 to 11 miles per hour, making it safer and more accessible to people of all ages. It encourages families to spend time outdoors and stay active together on the water. Second, we need to make decisions based on facts, not fear. One common argument for banning wake surfing is shoreline erosion, but scientific analysis shows when operated at responsible distances, wake surfing waves are not significantly more impactful than those from traditional boats. From my time working with the Luminology Department in Madison on Lake Mendota, the most studied lake in the world, I've learned that a lake's overall health is more significantly affected by nitrate and phosphorus runoff from fertilizers and road salt than recreational boat use. If our community wants to further protect water quality, we should look to proven methods used by lakes such as Clear Lake, Iowa, that include building sewer systems to manage storm runoff and restoring shoreline wetlands. These strategies have actually proven to increase biodiversity of fish and fauna while reducing the rate of harmful algae blooms. If we're concerned about damage to weed beds or the scarring of the lake bed, then I believe we should be asking tough questions about intentional shoreline weed removal practices. Let's take a closer look at how aquatic vegetation is managed by property owners. These factors play a much greater role than occasional wake surfing activity. Finally, wake surfing is more than recreation, it's connection. Some of my favorite memories are helping my siblings and friends catch their first wave, or just enjoying the lake together. Wake surfing helps people slow down, unplug, and bond in a way that's hard to replicate. It's a meaningful, irreplaceable part of life on water. In closing, I urge this community to choose collaboration over prohibition. Let's work together to create a smart, science-backed guidelines that protect the lake and keep it open to everyone. Sailors, swimmers, anglers, paddlers, and yes, even wake surfers. Thank you for your time, your thoughtfulness, and your commitment to keeping Lake Beulah a place where we can all love and protect together.
Our values, and how we shape the future of Lake Beulah. Right now, there's a push to ban lake-enhanced sports on our lake, but not because of clear local scientific data. The evidence being used comes from studies done elsewhere, not from Lake Beulah itself. Some of you may remember a time when snowboarding was seen as disruptive and unwelcome. In fact, many ski resorts banned it, and people fought over it. But with time, education, and understanding, it became one of the most celebrated Olympic sports by 1998. Wake-enhanced sports are on a similar path, growing in popularity, professionalism, and passion. To ban them now would be to repeat the mistakes of the past, shutting the door on progress. Do we really want to be the ones who try and stop this progress rather than managing it responsibly? Before making such a major decision that not fear. We should be educating voters on where to ride safely, enforcing the rules we already have, and working together, not pushing one-sided bans based on limited surveys and closed-door decisions. That's not a fair or transparent foundation for a ban. No one is saying we could ignore concerns, but before banning a whole category of boats and sports, let's educate voters on how to operate safely on our lake. Let's enforce the rules already in place and work together, not shut people out. This decision matters. It's not just about boats, it's about fairness, education, and how we treat one another as neighbors, and how we move forward as a community. Don't let fear and emotion take the lead. Say no to this ban, say yes to shared access, responsible use, and a stronger, more united Lake Beulah. Thank you for your time.
Good evening, everybody, and thanks for listening. I had a lot of questions. I'm going to just talk about two tonight, and I wanted to find some answers. One was, how many lakes are in Wisconsin? What are the average size and depth? And I got this information from wisconsinlakes.org. There's more than 15,000 lakes in Wisconsin. 12,000 of those are 50 acres and less. 1,300 lakes are 50 to 200 acres. 414 lakes are 200 to 500 acres. There's 268 lakes that are 500 acres plus, like Lake Beulah. It also defines shallow lakes as a maximum depth of less than 20 feet or an average depth of less than 10 feet. So according to this definition, Lake Beulah is a deep, large lake. And according to an aquatic survey in 2016, Lake Beulah is 834 square acres with a mean depth of 23 feet and a maximum depth of 62 feet. I love data. I like objective data. Subjective data can be helpful, but objective data tells us so much more. I want to talk about the green algae. I just attended Water Week virtually. And I learned from the Wisconsin Lakes and Rivers Convention in 2025 that blue green algae, what is it? It's a photosynthetic bacteria. It helped create the Earth's atmosphere. It's native to every lake and river in Wisconsin. And given enough sunlight and nutrients such as phosphorus and nitrogen, they can grow harmful algae blooms, and some species can produce cytotoxins. Large, severe, recurring blooms are more likely in high nutrient lakes. Warmer temps, heavier rains, and longer growing seasons promote blooms. It was not mentioned about waypoints. And I just wanted to